So, this is actually very, how do I put this? It's a topic that I feel, hold on. Oh, I come back and I sneeze. But anyway, so by the title of this, yeah, because kind of, I kind of feel this needs to have just some thought put into it. And the question being, are all, and there's Tammy right on time, exactly. Like she was, were you probably just hovering over like my YouTube channel page, just like, any second now he's gonna hit the button. Oh gosh, don't judge me for that, but still. And I figured this would be a better way of putting it, because I really don't want to have like a lot of people like go on my face at once. And if I like put it in just like the whole entire, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to have like a lot of people be like, oh, at me at once. Oh, you're talking about his music video? Oh gosh, no. But I mean, that's going to come up as part of the whole discussion and the topic and the whatnot. Now, one of the things that I've noticed, and at least I pick up on, hold on. I'm going to just do this. Make sure that stays off. How do I put this? Most of the time, people rely on somebody else to actually understand and know about how a certain entity is. Does that make sense? Which in reality, take it the same way like this. Let's just say if you were minding your own business and then somebody came up to you and was saying like, oh my gosh, did you hear about Harold over there? And Harold is just minding his own business and just, doesn't even know you exist. And you didn't even know he exists. And they're just all like, well, Harold is all this negative stuff. How are you going to respond to that? At least for me, I'm going to look at it as like, Harold's what? Okay, and what's your point? I haven't spoken to him. How am I supposed to know he's all that? Well, he did me. Okay. I haven't met him. I haven't talked to him. I don't know anything about him. So, what's your point? Well, you should stay away from him. Okay. All right, whatever you say. People kind of do that same thing with, like, say, for example, the Left-Handed Divines, like, for an example. Satanas is probably the biggest one. Same with Lucifer. And, like, how I can't remember exactly the rapper's name or the artist's name. In a way, the way that the music video was put out, I mean, I will say it was creative and different, especially the part when I believe it was supposed to be the snake. But the thing is, I kind of got a little bit confused when the snake figure was a Naga. That confused me because usually Nagas are a humanoid race that are actually part of the deep down underground occult mysticism, magic, and sorcery, usually. So I kind of got a little bit confused with the whole idea of why is the snake a Naga? I mean, I can kind of understand where where it was going with it, but I mean, the music video was very flashy. I will give it credit for that, but the part when it went down, down into, here we go, the stereotypical hell. that's when I'm just like, oh, here we go. Not that I'm, going down in somebody's sense of creativity, but what I'm going down on is this. We're going with a stereotype. We're going with something that is saying that, oh, this is what Satanas looks like. Oh, this is where he lives, a place where it's like on fire. It is just completely all based on what somebody else says. The name of it, I know, like in parentheses, is called "Call Me Your Name" or something. And now this is another part that kind of agitates me, and it's actually not even about the guy who did it, because I mean, it's his creative sense of self, like it's a sense of creativity and expression and artistic talent. It is. But the part that I don't understand, why go on with a stereotype of what somebody else says about how Satanas is and what he looks like, and just like that whole of the whole left-handed side? Why are we going with that instead of actually depicting our own take on it, our own, what we have to say? Yes, that was it. Because to me, I'm just a stern, like very stickler with this one. It's like, if you've never interacted with any entity, be it any culture, be it anyhow, unless if you actually come face to face with them yourself, don't say anything about them, because that's like telling rumors about someone that you haven't even talked to, which is kiddie stuff. Another example. Actually, not another example. Another question. The shoes. Okay. Why now do we have this? Why do we have President Burr on the box art? What does Burr have to do with these shoes? I'm not saying it to be all nitpicky. I'm honestly asking. President Burr is usually seen, well, actually is noted to be depicted as a lion's head, and he has multiple legs, and the way he moves is like he becomes a wheel, and he like rolls around. And he's actually related to Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a sign of higher philosophy, religious studies, morality, like higher forms of thinking. Of course, you can create anything you like. Absolutely. There's creative self-expression, in my opinion, is always a right that every human has. But there also has to be a moment when it can take a moment to take a step back a little bit. Because some forms of creativity and expression are kind of a little bit in the gray area. Like an example, there have been a few times where I've seen articles of clothing actually have depictions of a woman being abused. No. No. That's not creativity. No. In my opinion, no. Because that's kind of in a way being okay with having a woman being abused and put through torture, and having her sense of dignity and just well-being put at risk. No. That should not be an article of clothing, in my opinion. That's just me. Though, creative self-expression, yes, should be practiced, and you should be allowed to do it. But there has to be a point where there's a moment where, like, okay, this is far enough. That's just my opinion. But I'm trying to figure out President Burr. He's on the box art for the shoes. Now, don't get me wrong. In astrology, Jupiter can represent, because he owns the sign of Sagittarius, he can represent possibly a doctor, because you need to have the wisdom and the higher belief system to actually be a doctor. Because being a doctor, you have to understand that you have to put yourself in a higher form and a higher state of awareness to understand that if you're going to be healing people, you have to see it as a person needing help, not by race, not by color, not by nothing. If you're a doctor to help and attend to anybody. And that's Sagittarius. having that higher moralistic belief system. Burr is also believed to be an embodiment of the sign of Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is either seen as a centaur, a deformed figure, or an alchemist, because Sagittarius is originally the sign of the alchemist. And alchemy, many moons ago, was actually one of the practices done. Well, by World War, what do you mean by World War? Because in this, pretty much on this earth, gosh, Lisa, that's a good conjunction. Hey, Jeremy, that's a good conjunction, Lisa. World War, to be honest, no matter what happens, there's always going to be combat. There's always going to be fighting on this earth. Always. There's never going to be a time of full peace. I hate to put it that way. But that's just how it is. No matter what anybody does, there's always going to be conflict. There's always going to be peace, but peace comes from the internal self, like the self. Conflict is always going to be, usually most of the time, outside of you. That makes sense. No matter what you do for the outside, there's always going to be conflict. So the only time you can actually be at the most at peace is with yourself. If you're at most peace with yourself, and if you don't engage in most of as much combat as you can outside of you, that's the closest to world peace you can get, if that makes sense. And in this day and age, you always have to make sure you are taken care of first over anything else. And don't let anybody take that away from you. If somebody... Well, karma is best put like this. There's a lot of people that believe that karma goes like this. If you do good, you'll get good back. If you do bad, you'll get bad back. Or don't do something bad, because something will come back around and hit you upside the head with it. Now the thing is, to put it this way, there's a universal law that I'm kind of really shocked that nobody's talked about, because it's like, come on, people. And that's the universal law of consequence. Now, consequence is usually believed to have a negative annotation attached to it. Consequence is not intended to be negative or malefic or harmful. Consequence is defined as the result of a previous action now coming about, if that makes sense. Because of this followed. That's the consequence. So karma really is consequence. If you choose to do this, this is the consequence that can follow, if that makes sense. Most of the time, people use karma as a way of controlling and manipulating people. No matter what happens, and whomever it is, and even God himself is free of this, and no divine or nothing's free from this. Everything has to go by law of consequence. Because if you can take an action, there's always a consequence to follow it. There's no way around that. That's the point blank. And that's the best I got for karma. But everything that does something has a consequence that comes afterwards. Be it good, bad, dreadful, it doesn't matter. That's just how it is. But now, and then again, with that in mind too, if you make a choice, no matter what it is, like if it's going left or right, whichever route you go to, the consequence is all that follows with it. If you're going down like the left side and you go down to forbidden, actually, I kind of like having my brain picked here. Thanks, Cassandra. No, really, I like having my brain picked. It puts me on the spot. It makes me think. Now, forbidden fruit, and does it exist? Well, first off, we got to take a look at the symbolism. Usually, Dharma is essentially the accumulation of the good fortunes that you're pretty much being bestowed based on those prior to you in your family line, if that makes sense. That's the original ninth house, the Dharma triangle. Ascend the Lugna, fifth house, and ninth house. That's your Dharma triangle. And those are actually the fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Aries is the self, the initiative, and the will to have the self go towards something. Yes, Satanus is a real divine entity. But here's the thing. Dharma, let me finish this first, Cassandra, because I don't want to like make her feel neglected. But Aries is the initiative side. One at a time, Cassandra. One at a time. So you can go Aries. Okay, so I already said Aries. Leo is more along the lines of the creative self-expression, expressing the self of like the qualities that you have. And then the Dharma is essentially your luck and divinity's interaction with you, if that makes sense. Because ninth house is the house of divinity and higher awareness. Now, higher awareness does not mean that it's like, for example, the stereotypical stuff that's said about the left-handed path. No. Higher awareness is the awareness of, okay, I'm using higher forms of thinking instead of being like, oh, it's dark, it's evil. That's low level. That's like Gemini, if that makes sense. Low level thinking is more along the lines of Gemini. Now, I'm not saying low level thinking is bad, because no. It's not really taking an approach to something with a higher way of going towards it and using your way of thinking and logic, and actually trying to dig deep into it, if that makes sense. Now for that forbidden fruit, looking at the symbolism, now, because from that it was the tree of knowledge that was what Eve and Adam ate from. That's actually a symbolism for regarding. Usually, most of the time, it's an apple, but depending on what it is. What was that? What was that, Lily? Actually, which wheel? Okay, this is the only disadvantage I have because, like, when I see a question, I see something pop up, I get like, So, the forbidden fruit is the best way to put it, and to keep it as simple as I can. From the tree of knowledge, the fruit represents pretty much it's essentially this. It's consuming what brings you a sense of awareness. It's consuming knowledge that, based on what God said, Eve and Adam not to eat from the tree of knowledge, not the tree of awareness. Because when you indulge and intake intelligence, knowledge, and allow yourself to question everything and learn, it breaks that boundary of him restricting you, if that makes sense. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just that when you control and restrict somebody from learning and education, that's how pretty much you're able to still manipulate them. Because when you can control what they know, they're like, I don't know what to do. Okay. They don't know how to fend for themselves, if that makes sense. And yes, Cassandra, there are higher beings and they exist a lot. Now, going to the next question. Can you not be yourself? That's a not really no, because you're most like your moon sign in your astrology chart. Now, okay, Lily, you want me to explain to me why we have the word Satanus, even though when his name is also Lucifer? Okay, now this is where I can really explain this pretty good. Okay. To me, hold on. Okay, so why do we use the names? Why do we you also include the word Satan and alongside, even though I'm just gonna just answer like Lloyd's question instead of me repeating it because it kind of confuses me. But to me, because Satanus and Lucifer, the whole point of the left-handed path in Luciferianism, Satanism, the overall theme of the left-handed path is to pretty much empower and do what's best for the self first, if that makes sense. The self always has to be the focus on the left, if that is making if I'm making sense about that. Essentially, Satanus and Lucifer, they're they're high up, and they're essentially my best guess because I'm not really as deep if that makes sense. I have gone down and invested in learning some of the path, but I was told from Satanus this is not my path, so I can only take a good guess at it. Lucifer and Satanus, they pretty much guide to the same destination. I'm getting to that. They both lead to the same destination, but the way that the self is not really it's not really the ego because the ego is the soul. The doing what's best for the self, that's more alongside the moon. Because if you're not able because if you have your moon and your mind taken care of and stable, that's when you're able to think and comprehend. One at a time, please. um, Satanus goes about guiding the self on a more 3D, primal, realistic, grounded, like, this is how it is. You need to have this, or you're not going to make it. If you cannot fend for yourself, you're not going to stand, and you're not going to be able to do anything. He's a divine that's pretty strict, pretty, like, that's how it is. And he's not really. But then again, depending on your perception and how Satanus is towards you, it can be completely different because Satanus as an entity and a divine is unique to everybody else. Good example, how Satanus is towards me is completely different from my friend Kendra, and also, I'm trying to remember her name. Also, Satanus is completely different from me compared to Mary Ravensoul, because Mary Ravensoul has invested in Satanus much more than I have, beyond more than I have. So how she is saying how he is, that's what she experiences with Satanus. It's going to be completely different from me. However, the idea that Satanus guides you in a way that's this is how it is. There can be somewhat of a reoccurring theme with that, in my opinion. Easy, easy, ladies. Please, please don't be throwing spears at each other because that's gonna make me facepalm. But now for Lucifer, he teaches the same. He teaches for the same result, but the way he goes about it is completely different to me. And again, just like Satanus, Lucifer is unique to whoever goes towards him. But at the same time, Lucifer is known as the light bearer, the light bringer, the one who brings awareness, the one who rules and gives awareness to mankind, including color. Now, that pretty much the human can understand color perspective, and essentially being able to have the awareness of their five senses. That makes sense. Bring awareness to the senses. That's why Lucifer's planet is being Venus, which actually rules the sign of Taurus, which is actually about the five senses. So how Lucifer goes about bringing the best for the self is that Lucifer is more uplifting. Meaning if you're going towards doing what's best for you, which is also living your life the most lavish, the most fulfilling, the most pleasurable, the most comfortable, the most convenient, and also the most enjoying. That's another way of doing what's best for the self. Mine is a... Yeah. But with reincarnation too, there are some, because this is where it can become a big giant, like tying the knots all over the place, and it can be kind of a hard thing to follow. But Saturnus and Lucifer, they are very personal divines. They all they all go towards an individual uniquely. But most definitely, they focus on the person and their gain and their expansion. The way they go about it, though, is different, if that makes sense. A good way to look at it, and that just popped in my head. Saturnus, think of Saturn. Lucifer, Venus. How's Venus? When you hear Venus, what do you think? You think of somebody being very gentle, very uplifting, very sweet. Well, that's why it's best to just share experience of what you have and have it be put out there, so that way other people can hear it, and then there can be possibly a collective to try and understand how this divine interacts. But if there's something like reoccurring, there can be an attempt, not saying that it can be done, an attempt to try and understand how this divine behaves at its core, if that makes sense. Because if we understand how divine is at its core, we can understand what it's trying to bestow to mankind, if that makes sense. Because I mean, I'm just somebody that really wants to try and kind of have all the unnecessary stuff like, oh, it's, how do I put this? Oh, it's Satan, he's evil. No, stop it. Because, like I've said before, about taking his name and then using etymology to completely flip it into something better. Okay. Satan. Okay, that usually translates to... I'm technically no Cassandra, because it's... Well, I don't think it'll ever return, to be honest. Because it's gone. But Satan, the word, translates to adversary. Okay, what's an adversary? One who challenges you, not an opponent. Is an opponent somebody who always wants to hurt you? Is an opponent a challenger? Okay, now who can be a challenger? Teacher, elder, wise man, philosopher, friend, mother, father, sibling. You see where I'm going with this? And not all adversaries are malefically driven. Some adversaries are challengers that challenge you to actually prove that you've learned what you need to learn and prove yourself to see that, yes, you can stand, you can handle yourself, you can go into a subject without any sense of not having confidence in yourself. And that really, that's, be technical, that's not wrong. Because most of the time, challenging people that challenge you, test you. And one of the things that one of the one of the actually one of the stories about how Christ was fasting and how Christ was, I can't remember what desert he was in, but he was walking away and he's just all fasting for how many days? 13 days, 13 nights. And then Satanas came down to him and said, why don't you want to have anything of the world? I can give you everything you want. Here's the thing, listen. You can't take it for exactly how it's being said. You have to look at it from another perspective. Christ, fasting. So Christ is fasting. Now, keep in mind how Satanas is as a divine. 3D, practical, realistic, down-to-earth survival. Okay. Satanas goes to Christ. Why don't you want anything in the world here? You can have whatever you want. Why aren't you taking it? Christ is fasting. What happens when you fast? You get malnutrition. You begin... you don't have any nutrition. Excuse me. You don't have any water in your system. You start to struggle and you start losing consciousness. It's not really, in my opinion, a good way to purify the body, because what you're doing is you're forcing your body to burn all the nutrients and energy out of you. It makes you begin getting very sluggish, and it even can make you start seeing delusions, and it pretty much damage your internal organs and your body systems. So, in reality, Satanas was asking Christ, why are you killing yourself? Why aren't you eating? Why are you not feeding yourself? Why are you not drinking water? Why are you slowly killing yourself? You can go and eat and live. Why aren't you doing it? That's really what he was saying. Not like tempting him to have all the kingdoms in the world. That was a symbol, meaning that you can have any kingdom in the world. In other words, you can pretty much go to any form of study and learn and pretty much enjoy your best self on this earth while you can. But yet you choose to just put yourself through eternal suffering for no reason for somebody else. That's not realistic. That's not practical, dude. That's the real reason, and that's the other message to it. Because when you overly devote to something, like the devil card in the tarot being about addictions, you're being addicted to something else. You're neglecting other sectors of the life. That's what the devil is. Being completely possessed by something that it blinds you and prevents you from focusing on other areas of your life. That being said, when you get possessed by spirituality and divinity and you focus on it too much, you begin neglecting everything else in your life. For an example, what's one of the probably the most biggest things that gets lost when you focus too much on a belief system? Sanity. Your sense to be able to comprehend, oh, this is a person. Oh, you're not one of us? Hey, don't look at me. That's just what happens. Don't look at me. That's what's been happening. If it wasn't happening, I wouldn't have been sending it. Family? No, they don't believe the same as me, so I don't want them. You're too focused on this. That's malefic. If you're going to be neglecting your family by focusing on one singular thing, even if it's divinity, you're being possessed by that divinity to become pretty much their little puppet on a string. I hate to put it that way. But when you focus too much and not give your time to other parts of your life, like your health, mental health, family, study, profession, hobby, spouse, higher teachings, service, gains, and even spirituality, and also creative self-expression, security, and all that, and also wealth. If you do not evenly distribute your time, even if you allow one thing to completely possess you and blind you 100%, that's not good. Because too much can cause immense damage, just like alcohol, tobacco, anything that in excessive that can cause serious harm, including but not limited to too much wealth. If you have too much wealth, and if you have too much financial stuff, it's so easy and it just takes a fraction of a whoops to be gone. If you give too much focus on yourself, you don't have those outside of you wanting to come towards you. If you focus too much on your skills, the only thing is nothing can possess you unless if you allow it to. That's why you have to have the awareness for self to know this is my life, I'm in control, nothing else. Whatever I'm choosing to do is my choice. And if someone tries to take it from me and tell me how to live my life, no. They have their own, they can do their own thing. Stop trying to talk my life. Nope. You have your own life, go away. Stop fangirling about my life, no. Sheesh, why can't you just worry about your own life? How come you're so obsessed with mine? Wow, fangirl alert. That's pretty funny and kind of comical way of putting it, but still. You are supposed to live this life for you, and even though to be technical, it is your life. So if it's your life, shouldn't you be the one saying how it happens? And if anybody says, you must do this, you have to do this. Or what? Why can't you do it? Because, gee, having this conversation and who's supposed to be doing it, you could have done it yourself. But that's none of my business. And the funny thing is, technically, it's not being wrong. It may not be right, but it's something that's very difficult to argue against. If there's something that has to be done, and if it's not a priority of yours, but somebody else, it's not really yours to do. If I remember, this is kind of a bit funny, but back then when I was a kid, I remember this, like really young, I remember this one time, I can't remember what grade I was in, and I remember getting like homework that night, and then there's Nightshade. I was honestly curious, and I was trying to feel like, why is it like this? So after when my teacher gave me homework, after school, I went up to her and I asked, how come you keep giving us your work to do? How come you keep giving us work to do? Why can't you do it? I don't understand, teacher. Is there a reason why we're doing all this work for you? And I thought, wouldn't you be able to do it? She actually looked at me and she couldn't smile and she started laughing. She said, you really are a smart one. Like, she knew what I was asking. But she knew that I did not, but I wasn't trying to be rude about it. Like, why are you having us do your work? Shouldn't you be able to do it? And I'm really, really grateful that she did not. She didn't catch it the way that I thought I was hoping that she wouldn't catch it, because at first I was expecting her to think, you telling me that you're not going to do it? Why are you talking back? But no, she actually called me smart, because it really does make sense. Why is an adult giving children their work to do? But that's just a frame of mind that I had back then. Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with questioning anything. Questioning something, how do you know if someone's trying to question it so that way they can understand it better? Is that really how it was back then? Don't you dare question me. But I want to know so that way I can fully understand it. Oh, see? One of the things I just love to... thing that causes the big amount of whoopsies is assuming something most of the time. Because unless if you know, don't assume. If you don't have the clarity, ask for it. Because, I mean, there's a lot of things that I can even be all like, well, I'm going to assume this person's stupid because they look stupid. Oops. That's a whoops. I'm going to assume this person, or probably the worst one, which agitates me the most. Well, I'm going to assume this elderly person is slow and they can't really do anything on their own. Oops, don't know. For me, that's a big no-no. Don't assume that the elderly... Don't assume negative stuff about the elderly because that will get me livid. And don't assume that since they're old and pretty much they live their life in their they're in their geriatric stage of life, do not assume that the elderly cannot have fun. Because I'll have you know. I will have you know. Living with my grandparents, I will have you know. They can be just as, if not more, wilder than the young ones. I mean, good Lord. I mean, the times that I get up and tell them, hey, quiet down, kids. Drive me nuts. Still. Hello, Claudia. And most of the time, 100%, always don't assume something unless if you believe 100% and you have evidence to support that assumption, really, then it's best really not to assume something unless if you actually understand it and you have it be explained or talked to you. So do I. Get that thing out of him. Hey, get that thing between your legs to stop doing that, dude. It's making that noise again. How many times do I have to ask you to get that fixed? Do we want to have the thing that happened with Adam happen to it? Hope not. Because that's going to be like how many times it's going to get beheaded? The 10th time or 20th time? Well, and no, not this head, the other one. I don't understand how this noise is just so appealing. Like, okay, you have officially have the Raspberry Mobile. I'm so impressed. Wow. Besides, that's not how you motorboat. I don't even know how to do that, so I don't know, but I know definitely that's not how you do it. I'm passive aggressive, I know. A nurse? What kind of nurse? Which nurse was that? Like, what part of nursing did you do? Because I was actually really planning on being a pediatric nurse when I was like in the almost finished of my high school. I was almost deciding 100% I'm going to be a nurse. Then events happened. And by events, I mean, you know. Let's just say the marvelous adventures of... Why are you doing that, dude? Love you to death, but honey bear, please. I can only facepalm myself so many times. Please, why do you do this? This isn't supposed to be like going up to, you know, reality and, you know, getting yourself in a hot mess and just start poking at it with a stick. Be like, I wonder how far I can, I wonder how close I can get to it before, you know, it comes after and chases after me. And then I need, you know, him to save me. No, let's stop doing that. Yeah, I was planning on being a pediatric nurse. And specifically at the high school that I went to, This is actually kind of funny. There was a preschool lab, like child development, childhood education, like learning how to be a preschool teacher and getting like a education's credential. It was pretty much showing the pathway to that. I took that class. Critical care nurse and house coordinator. Oh, I have to say that's probably one of the most. It is situation where you have to act now, because it's like holding on to somebody's life and keeping it together while being stressed. I'll get back to that for a moment. I'll get back to that in a second, Jeremy. Yeah, because when you're in critical care, every second counts. Every little second counts. And the thing is, you have to act fast. You have to make quick, snap decisions. And you have to be able to understand really what you're messing with, and you have to think on the fly. It's very taxing. And it can be very traumatizing. Because when you do everything you can, even if you do it right, you can only do as much as you can because there's always that risk that they pass over. It's traumatizing. It's very hard. And that's why people in the nursing field, especially in that. Yep. That's it, Lisa. Perfect. I was actually about to get pretty close to that. Like, you have to. Yep. Exactly. Beat me. It's like you ladies already knew what was about to come out of my mouth. You beat me to it. Sheesh. But then also, there's a reason why. Well, this is me personally. I have I was almost diagnosed almost on the autism spectrum, but not all the way in. So I was kind of put in there like I was best somewhat labeled like having Asperger's syndrome. Does that make sense? Because I mean, if it is what it is, okay, good. I have an advantage that people think, well, that's an impairment and a disability. Oh, honey, you don't know what you just said. To be technical, people that are on the autism spectrum, and those quote unquote mental afflictions, and you're just mad because we can see things that the common man can't. Oh, did I just pinch a nerve? Don't look at me. That's just what that's just what it is. Now let's see, adversarial. Now Jeremy, by adversarial, are you putting it in a way that's as in like like a challenger, kind of like the way how Satanas is? Does that make sense? Like how I said, Satanas is an adversary, one who challenges you, one who tests you, one who makes you prove yourself. Does that make sense? Because if it's along that lines, in a way, yeah. But the way that love goes about it. Oh, man. Oh, I think I had to put on my. I think I'm gonna have to put on some Lilith oil for this one. Hold on. Anyway, so had one job just to sit up straight. Yeah, good luck with that one. Let me grab that one, that one, that one, that one. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, oh, it's like I have a piece for everything. Okay. Don't do that. That's not very nice. I mean, I swear, this mix, every time when you shake it and you smell it, well, I mean, to be technical, all that a doctor is somebody who knows a field exponentially well. Because you can have a doctrine in English, you can have a doctrine in culinary arts. He said a doctor. Having a doctrine makes you a doctor, but that's none of my business. Don't look at me. That's just how it's defined. Wah, 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 wah. Careful with your words, mister. You can even have a doctrine in law. And even you can have a doctrine in astrology that makes you a doctor. But that's none of my business. That's none of my business. Don't look at me. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's just, how it is. But I know nothing because I don't have a stethoscope and I don't, I haven't gone to the college for it. But still. Okay. Yeah, this oil, every time when I shake it on. Exactly. Yep. This oil, every time when you shake and then smell, it changes differently. Actually, might be a good idea that you can possibly do, just for giggles. Why not when you actually make your first bakery or your first thing, like your first cake, like your first official business cake? Why don't you dedicate it to him and actually put something that's gonna make him like be throwing up and make him sick? So that'd be like, oh, what happened? You see what happens when you insult somebody's culinary art skill? Yeah, it actually goes and bites you. Don't you dare insult my art, because it will attack in the way that you won't expect it. Alrighty, Loyalty, thanks for stopping by. Be good. Actually, no, don't be good. Do as you please. I'm just gonna... Ooh. I don't know, it just got a little bit like awkwardly warm for a split second. Like, oh, okay. I think I probably put, oh, well, who cares? Because, yeah, it feels like these things are like getting a little bit too hot, but who cares? You can get the excess off. Alrighty now. Okay, so regarding love being adversarial. Well, again, an adversary is somebody who challenges you, somebody who tests you, somebody who can oppose you, but is also not always somebody who is baneful and malefic. So, is Lilith adversarial? In terms of like challenging you? You better believe it. Especially when you do stuff that is not really best for yourself and not bringing you empowerment. A good example. Oh, look at you. You're doing that stupid thing again. No. Keep doing it. No. That's what you want to do. Keep being stupid. No. No. You know what's best. Do you. No. It's your life. You know what's best. Just keep doing that stupid stuff. No. Even though it's elsewhere. Nope. Keep doing it. No. Don't. Nope. Nope. Don't let me control you because no. You know what's best. Just keep doing that stupid stuff. Nope. Mm-mm. But that's how she works. She wants you to think, oh shoot. But she said, I know I'm right, and I know it's best. It is my life, but something is telling me that it's not right. Something's not right here. That's the way she goes about it. Seriously, that's how Lilith goes about it. She goes about it in a way that makes you think, I'm confused. She says, it is my life and I know what's best for me. But the way she's saying it, it's like I'm being an idiot. I'm confused. That's seduction. Makes the mind explode and try and figure out something that it has conflicting viewpoints with. And that's what Loth excels in. The whole idea of like, oh, I thought you were gonna do, good stuff for yourself. But okay. Nope, just keep doing it. No, don't let me influence you, hon. You know it's best. Wow. I'm surprised I had hope in that. Oh well. You know what they say about people like that. It expires. You know what they say about people like that? Eventually they'll expire and be forgotten. Yeesh. Well put, my lady. Well put. You know I just adore you, right? No, really. Believe me, I love your humor. And if I didn't, I would expect you to be like, wow. How can somebody try and be funny if they can't even laugh at themselves? Wow. Fake. Speaking of that, Lisa, have a friend that had encountered the same thing with a guy, and he actually used, I'm on the autism spectrum, but he wasn't. He didn't have a diagnosis. Here's, I'm going to just say this right now, because I think this does have to be said. If somebody thinks it's cute to fake a condition that cannot be helped, and it is what it is, and some people struggle with it at varying levels, and if somebody uses that as an excuse when they don't have a diagnosis and they're trying to come up with something to protect themselves with, if they grab a condition that is pretty much something that can't be helped and use that as a shield, excuse me, my good sir, I hear you like being, hit with the nine tails 50 times in the face. Kind of harsh, but I don't care. You don't use something that cannot be helped and a challenge that people have or a condition that they have as a meat shield. That's like you saying, oh, I didn't kill the guy, I'm insane. Whereas you're just schizophrenic or pretty much your psychological report and diagnosis proving that. You don't got one. Yeah. Because at that point, it's just like, okay, you have your diagnosis? You have good enough. Sorry. Don't look at me. I'm just following the facts. Oh man, that's just so mean, Brendan. But okay, go for it. Just let her through. Well, that's men for you. What kind of chocolate would you like? All right. Well, I know what I'm going to be doing when I'm done with this live video. Get her some more chocolate. There's it. Crap, I just drew a blank. Hopefully you know that, oh crap, I just remembered. I need to put on my, I need to put on my, what kind of hat? My brown suit and, what kind of hat was that? That brown suit and what kind of hat? I forgot about that. Shoot. Oh well. I can't remember, but still. I mean, that's what I would have done. Because I think, that would be a really. Well, okay. I'll tell him. All right. Jeremy, you're fine, hon. Don't. Don't think I'm mad at you. Please. You're alright. Just do you. Don't be afraid and don't ever think that I'm mad at you because you're really trying. Why am I going to be mad at someone that's really trying to go towards their empowerment? That's the point of me, to help you get to there. Don't be thinking that I'm mad when you're trying. If you weren't trying, then probably I would not care. But I do. I mean, that's the best. I mean, at least that's what was popping in my head, and I was just letting it come through. Wow. Interesting. Clever. Not expecting it. Well, it does make sense, yeah. But I mean, the way. All right, lovely lady, you can come through and speak again. Narcissists are my absolute favorite. You know why? I love the happy ones, especially the ones that think, they're on top of the world. Gives them so much more to fall. Oops. I was looking at like the picture that I have as my like depiction for Lilith. I was looking at it, and like the eyes right here, right when I said that, the eyes just like kind of like shimmered and like lit up a rosy violet color. Let's see. I don't even know if I can have it like right there. They pretty much like around the eyes. They just became like a rosy violet. They like grew and then they closed. Just like, oh, wow, absolutely gorgeous way of putting it. Well, I mean, she just gave me the thought and said, "Here, I'm gonna say this. Okay, go for it." Oh, no, it's just narcissists. They're like the happy ones, and I love the happy ones. You know why? Just watch the fall happen when, oh, you tripped. There goes the ego. And thinking that they're, fancy. Aw, look at you down there. While you're down there, kiss my foot, why don't you? Oh, no, no, no. You have to work your way back to the top. Oh, no, no, no. You can't sit with us. Sorry, you fell. It's true. Somebody thinks that they're very high up there. The best way, to make them kind of go, Erp. But once you knock them down, oh, what happened? You slipped on a banana peel. Oh, you got taken out by a fruit. You got taken out by a peel of a fruit. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Even the cartoons have that. So that must make you, that must make you a joke. Young lady. Oh, young lady, that was a good one. Oh, man, that was perfect. I'm not just going to give you one chocolate bar. Yes, I'm going to get you like 5 for that one. Really, no, really, that was very clever of her. You know, well, since you got taken up by a banana peel, that's sad, but it's okay. It's just like in the cartoons. So I guess that does make you a joke. um, I'm gonna write that down while it's still fresh in my mind. Because I mean, oh, maybe I should actually, whenever she comes in and actually makes like a very clever passive aggressive backhanded insult like that. I think I should start making like a little written booklet of them all and be all like, okay, we have a narcissist. Okay, well, let's see. Careful, don't slip on a banana peel. We wouldn't want you to fall and, be like a cartoon, become a joke. Oh, wait, you already are a joke. Pen. Because, I mean, oh. Okay, I'll just put it over here. Because, at least to me, this is really, in my opinion, just when in doubt, just keep looking and keep researching. And also that book thing you sent me too, I'm still reading it and I'm still dissecting it. Because to me, it's very mind provoking. So you're a Virgo sun? Does that make sense? Because the way that I like to when I analyze stuff and I research stuff, I read it over like 5 times over and over again, or somewhere many times, and actually have my brain really look at it and think, okay, this is what it's saying. It can mean this, 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 this. Okay, next, this. Yeah, I like completely dig. I completely just keep digging and digging and digging and trying to like dissect it as minuscule as I can of understanding. So that way it can be like having so many other potentials of which way it can go. And that shows a really healthy, active mind that wants to dissect and pinpoint, okay, what's the intention behind this? September 17th. Okay. Do you just know your sun sign? Does that make sense? And actually, if you have a sun in Virgo, that shows that you get your most sense of fulfillment by keeping things pure, making things be well taken care of. You want things to be, I wouldn't say pretty much that you are completely in terms of like empowering something. I'm kind of, well, Lily here. My trait. Okay? My trait. Okay? My trait, okay? Yay? Whatever. You get in front. Well, not really that, but still. Here, my trait. Okay. I'm serious. Where the heck did it go? Come on. Elliot. Okay, Lily. So, September. Okay. Birth year and estimated birth time and birthplace. I'm thinking about it. I'm also going to pull this up so that way I know where one other placement is. Updating. I don't have internet. Yeah, okay. How come you're not connected, dude? You're supposed to be connected. What? What amethyst? You paid $100 for just having your chart drawn? Really? That's it? Having your chart drawn? I can draw a chart by just doing a few clicks and pressing a few buttons. I really hope that person, gets a spear to the back of the head for that. Okay, 1970. Do you happen to know the birth time? Hey, it's just fair, in my opinion, because if somebody is gonna scam somebody by having them get something so simple by putting your numbers in a system. For him. Well, if you ever need me to, to step in and be all like, here, come here, trolls, come over and handle with me. You can take care of me. You can talk to me instead, because trust me, after what I'm through with them, they're probably gonna wish that they didn't, think that they were cutesy being stupid. Okay, what was it? Middle. Whoop, wrong way. No. I wouldn't say it was your fault. You put your faith into somebody else to provide you with a service, and they failed to deliver. Pretty pathetically. Okie doke. Ooh, that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Okay. Ah, your chart is beautiful. Okay, so let's see here. Let me just double check the perfect. And then let's see here. By any chance, is there a recurring theme in your mind that you have the urge to express yourself and want to pretty much be looked up to and adorned, if that makes sense? Like you keep thinking about, how can I put myself out there to be an inspiration to people? Like a recurring thought in your mind is like, how can I put myself out there creatively to be admired and to be an inspiration to other people? How can I do that? And how am I able to ensure that I get the recognition I deserve? Is that what you happen to think of? Lily, is that what you happen to think of? In high school, yeah, but now, was in high school, that's not where I'm looking at. I'm looking like a recurring thought that you have. Do you have, do you, well, do you mostly think at the time, how can I either be like get noticed, how to be looked up to, be inspiring, or how can I creatively express myself or have pretty much the most powerful way of expressing myself? And I'm saying it as a recurring thought, like trying to figure out a way to get like admiration, or I'd say, yep. Well, again, You have a Leo ascendant. What's the Leo? What's Leo? The king, the lion. What does usually, being in the military, what does that kind of show? Leo is the king. What's in the thought of the so if you're having the thoughts of the king, you're having the thoughts of the kingdom, right? So that shows that having the thoughts of the kingdom, thoughts of country, being part of like what's something that you're trying to grow, if that makes sense. And also, Leo is one of the Dharma signs, meaning that it's one of the signs that's in 159, and that being the Lugna, that shows that your children, if you have any, are going to be also a part of what like your biggest on your mind most of the time, if you have any. And also, looking at this, the way that you like to the way that you like to pretty much express yourself, and the way that you give your sense of creativity out. Is she on your mind most of the time? But also, children will have a very high moralistic way of thinking, and they also may have an inclination to higher education. But also, you may also like to creatively express yourself in ways that are more intellectually based. That's Sagittarius. You have Sagittarius in your fifth house, and fifth house is the house of children. Ninth house, Sagittarius. That's your post-grad education, Sagittarius. And since Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is... Oh, wow. No. Do most of the time, whenever you're facing... Exactly, amethyst is perfect. He was? I mean, that... Mm. That's one of the things that usually whenever I read it or I catch it or if I see it, it does. It does. It does affect me. I don't know. I'm just really that empathically intuitive, and it's like something I can't. I whenever I see it, it hits me. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yes. Well, amethyst. If if she's perfect, Oh, sorry. I had to do that. I just had to take a moment to just stop and gather myself and also have hope for assuring that your partner is able to be at peace, if that makes sense. Because one of the things that it's hard, and I mean, do you know about like the? This is gonna be a pretty deep one, by the way, so you guys know. But do you happen to know about the story of like when I first met Hell? Because in some extent, I know exactly how it is to, in a way, almost lose like a significant other. Because, oh, hold on. Give me this one. Wait. Yeah. Did you happen to know about the story about when Hell and I had actually met Lily? Because that's yeah, I would put her in Viper Lines too. So if you're or even down below, there should be that texting line that's like right to me, that goes right to my phone. So yeah, feel free to please just text me, message me whenever you need it, because the best way to put it that I can is that I've experienced it too, but I was lucky. I was very lucky because I wouldn't have been here. Because honestly, I thought my significant other overdosed, and took his own life of it. And this was back in 2017, like the very start of 2017. And then when I was told that, you've like, if so, then here. I'm gonna put a number up on the screen. That way it's not in the description or whatever. I'm gonna put a different one in there. Oh. Okay, this is another number you can message me on, but this one is not connected to that other one that I have posted up. It's different. You can go to this one. 928-486-3623. I know that was kind of an easy one to remember, but it's just that I don't want to have people having like I'm not trying to like have people like get like too close to me, if that makes sense, but I'm still like wanting to be there for people that actually need it. And if they can't get a hold of me, well then fine, we'll have a plan B. But I have a canker sore and it's driving me nuts. It's like right in the back right here, and it's like, girl, you're making me just want to cut off your head. Stupid canker sore. Okay. I mean, I'll just say it again because I don't know why I went about it that way. But when I found out that somebody texted me that he did overdose and he was found in an alleyway with mixed pills, mixed syringes around him, unresponsive, cold. And someone texted me that and said sorry, and I'm like trying to talk to them like, what happened? Wait a minute, what? What's going on here? Didn't reply back. So after when I got that, called my grandmother and mother and then talked about it, and then when they left, I locked myself in the apartment, blocked out all the windows, cut myself off from the outside world, and lost my grip of reality, and just completely for 6 days straight, completely just tore myself to shreds. Like I literally like threw myself against the wall, made a brick, bashed my head against it, just completely just tried to annihilate myself. And I was screaming and yelling at myself, saying that, why did you do this? You didn't care about him. If you did, this wouldn't have happened to him. If you cared, you would have done better. If you loved him, you would have not have had this happen to him. This never would have happened if you actually tried harder. And, oh, yeah, and that was happening for like as much as like I felt I was up and moving around. And then the last day, I decided I didn't want to be on this earth anymore. I had enough. And I thought I did not. Okay. But I decided that I don't want to be on this earth anymore. I don't want to be suffering anymore. Because if I could not be with what made me feel alive, and if I'm going to be going through life's just mourning over such a loss that has done a lot for me, I cannot be able to live with it. So I decided I just wanted to go and be off this world and not be like that. Nope, I was just planning on ending my life by mixing a lot of things in a bowl. But he no, not me, no, not him. So I grabbed whatever I could, put it in a bowl, and before I could take it, well, I passed out. Like my body just felt like it just stopped, and I couldn't see anything. And then when I came to, I was reaching around for the bowl, and I kind of brushed my fingers around it, like in the dark. Brushed my fingers, felt it, went back to like fully grab it and pick it up, and then that's when That's when hell came in and told me to get up. I'm glad she did. Because if she didn't, I would not be here right now. But that's not why I'm getting emotional. That's not why. And this is exactly why, between me and hell, this is why. This is why I'm like, I cannot deny this, and I cannot give this to any other deity or anybody else. And this is why I'm also really grateful for Satanas for, saying that my path is not along the left. Because I would not have met hell. Because as soon as hell got me to stand back up, I went into the bathroom I had in the apartment, washed myself up, stepped out, then picked up my phone, turned it on because it was turned off. I turned it on, and for some reason I just took a picture of myself, and it's actually on my Facebook. And now, if you want to take a look at it, it'll be there. But took a picture of myself, and then literally after that, I get a Snapchat message from mine. And I mean, that's when my heart is saying, like, well, what? Wait, what? And then he actually sent me a video snap of him saying, I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm safe. Everything's cool. I'm all right, Brent. Love you. Bye. It's because hell, she did more than just, stop me from ending my life. She prevented one of the most traumatizing, drastic things any person can experience. She prevented it from happening to him. And he's not really emotionally and mentally stable. And compared to me, he's worse. And I know that would have drove him off the edge. So hell took it upon herself to safeguard both of us on her own will. She made that choice. And that's why I'm so fixed and stuck with her and close to her and not going anywhere with her. Because I can't. Because if it wasn't for her, I would not be here right now. And everything up to this point, it wouldn't have happened. And that's why I hold her in like the highest regards that I possibly can. Oh, and that's why I have like immense respect for her. Because I never asked her to. She just did it on her own. Mm-hmm. Oh, I have a call coming in, and I think it might be mine, and I gotta take it. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys later. But thank you for your time and all that. But I need to take this call. So.